principle redux. I had forgotten that she had done this, but she's certainly updated it. Since Lenore has generously agreed to deliver this sermon today, I'll skip her part in the 2019 version that explained how her Building Your Own Theology class led to my writing a sermon about the UU sixth principle, which is the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. That's a noble and worthy goal, right? Yet somehow I'd always thought of number 6 as the impossible principle. And somehow the impossible principle had turned into a writing assignment for me. Oh dear. What can we do, I wondered, to bring about the lofty goal of world community? What can I possibly say about it, sincerely and with conviction? As I pondered, 2 famous quotations kept coming to mind. One was from Mahatma Gandhi, "Be the change you want to see in this world." And the other was from the early 20th century anarchist and feminist Emma Goldman, "If I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution." So I did a little research, and I learned that there's no evidence Gandhi or Goldman ever said or wrote those sentences. Yet it seemed fitting to use 2 excellent things nobody said to introduce the impossible principle. When I searched online for sermons about the 6th principle, the few that I found encouraged people to be the change they want to see. And the most common theme of those sermons was radical hospitality, a willingness to welcome the other, to respect difference, to step outside our comfort zone, to make ourselves vulnerable. As wars, climate disasters, and other emergencies displace more and more people, one thing is certain: radical hospitality will be necessary if we hope to enlarge our communities. If we hope to enlarge them peacefully and with justice, to allow humans and other creatures to cross borders freely and safely, to welcome and share, even when we feel threatened, to work together to solve old problems and new ones. That doesn't mean we don't have to take a stand against some things or even exclude some people. As Reverend DC has reminded us, there are ideologies which are not welcome within these walls. But love is love, and we UUs lead with love. Hospitality extends love in concrete ways, giving love a place, a potential, a home. Radical hospitality is love embodied. Now, it makes sense to me that the training ground for radical hospitality is everyday hospitality. But even everyday hospitality doesn't always come naturally or feel easy. When I thought about what helps me practice hospitality, I realized that there's almost always some ritual or structure involved. For example, church, at its best, not only welcomes us, but gives us a role to play. For me, here at UUCSV, learning to make the coffee, clean the kitchen, greet visitors, and serve as worship associate or Zoom host have all been opportunities to practice hospitality. The instructions for these activities have been the training wheels for my wobbly hospitality bike, with countless kind, generous UUs nearby to spot me. Maybe because I'm an introvert, my most profound experiences of both hospitality and inclusion have come through practices that don't depend upon speech. Practices such as silent meditation with others, work practice and meal preparation during silent retreats, any kind of work side by side with other people. And although it's certainly not silent, I'd include our yard sale. Working together on a common goal has been a deeply satisfying experience of being welcomed and welcoming others. For some people, sports teams function this way, and I realize it's a short step from sports teams to the military, another institution with rituals that enable people to do things that they wouldn't do otherwise. I believe peaceful ritual is equally powerful. And the ritual closest to my heart in terms of joy is New England contra dancing. How many of you have tried contra dancing? Oh, okay. There's a monthly dance in Lewisburg, and I want to share a few seconds of video from the Countryside Contra Dancers Facebook page. Now, maybe you could tell that it's a partner dance, though the custom is to change partners for every dance. And you don't dance only with your partner. Dancers form one or more long lines of couples, traditionally with ladies on the right and gents on the left. Nowadays, we say robins on the right and larks on the left. And because some movements are just more fun in a swirly skirt, it's not unusual for a dancer's clothing not to match the gender they were assigned at birth. In this long line, each two couples of robins and larks form groups of 4 dancers. They're prompted by a caller. These pairs of couples interact in a series of dance figures that take them one time through a tune that the band will repeat multiple times so that each couple faces a new couple every time the tune starts. In this way, the couples proceed along the line in opposite directions, which is why it's called contra dancing. When you get to the end of the line as a couple, you wait out one time through the tune and then rejoin the line, proceeding in the opposite direction. If this sounds confusing, imagine how it might feel to dance it for the first time. When you don't know what to expect, when you don't know anyone, and maybe you have a little bit of social anxiety. Of course, in most dances, there's some teaching that happens first, but my first time contra dancing was in a large, echoey hall with at least 100 dancers, all of whom seemed to know what they were doing except me. Not very far into the first dance, I lost track of my partner and fled. I figured I was done. But a kind woman invited me to be her partner for the next dance, and that dance somehow went better. And 10 years later, I was co-organizing a monthly dance in Lewisburg and dancing or playing music for dances at home, in Harrisburg, State College, and Wilkes-Barre. What I learned, what hooked me, in addition to the sheer joy of dancing, was that contra dancing was all about community. The whole thing could fall apart at any minute, and every dancer knows that. So it's everyone's responsibility to keep the dance going. Much depends upon the caller, who has to prompt the dancers at the right time with prompts that are neither too difficult nor too easy for the particular group. But sooner or later in each dance, the goal is for the caller to be able to stop calling because the dancers have all internalized what to do. Maybe that's why contra dancing has been described as an amusement park ride we make ourselves. I soon learned that every dancer's first task is to pay attention, not only to the caller and the music, but most of all to their partner, such that you can dance together in a way that both of you enjoy. There will be people who enjoy swinging really fast, and people who prefer to swing by taking 8 beats to walk slowly around their partner. You learn to take the differences in stride, literally. Each interaction with a new person is another opportunity to cooperate and to co-create a dance that is both respectful and joyous. So what do I learn and practice while contra dancing? Many of the same skills that we use in church, or as Wanda described last Sunday on the pickleball course. Pay attention, listen, watch, adjust, encourage, welcome newcomers, anticipate, remember. Make mistakes and keep moving. Don't give up. One caller I know has the motto, when you stumble, make it part of the dance. Now, New England contra dance has not an entirely benign history in this country. It was brought to this continent by white European colonizers. George Washington contra danced. Henry Ford prompted contra dancing in Michigan because he wanted to use it as a counterweight to jazz culture emanating from Detroit and Chicago. In other words, as a tool of white supremacy. In rural areas, you still find almost exclusively white people at these dances. Though in cities and college towns, the dances are more diverse. Now, it's not always fully inclusive. If you can walk, you can contra, as the saying goes. If you use a wheelchair or can't hear the cues or see your partner, maybe it could work with a lot of hospitality and cooperation. I just haven't seen it. But I use contra dance here only as an example. There are countless other ritual activities and interactions that help us engage across difference, or could. So I encourage all of us to think about the things we already do or might try to participate alongside others in creating a community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Most people need training for being with difference. I know I do. Maybe a good place to start is to identify existing structures where we can interact, work together, listen, learn to trust, and experience at first hand our interdependence. We won't change the world at first. We might only change ourselves. But each step we take to be the change we want to see is a revolution, a step in what could be an amazing dance. May it be so.